How to Influence and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This little book right here has sold millions of copies to people who want to become better at dealing with their fellow humans, improve their leadership, or simply get people on board with their great ideas. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why this book became so popular, why you should read it, and if you already read it, if it's worth rereading. Hi and welcome to the Book Lab. This is the place where we bring you the best book recommendations when it comes to philosophy, psychology, human nature and human potential every week, so make sure to subscribe. Today we're going to talk about How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Dale Carnegie was originally Dale Carnegie. He changed his name to match the industrialist, rich man Andrew Carnegie, who was a personal hero of his. He was a teacher and he came from a simple family background, and he started to make a name for himself by providing courses in public speaking. In 1936 he published How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it became his big breakthrough. It summarizes 2.5 decades of teaching classes in public speaking and assertiveness, and to say that the book was a success is an understatement. It was a tremendous success and it has sold over 16 million copies to date. His timing was perfect. The book hit the shelves during the Great Depression and it gave hope to a whole generation of discouraged businessmen who had seen their hopes and dreams get crushed in the harsh economical climate. And since then it has been a perennial bestseller, and it's often suggested as a great starting point for someone who wants to start reading non-fiction or books on self-improvement. How to Influence and Influence People contains simple and time-tested principles for how to become a better leader and how to become more influential. Following this principle also makes social interactions more fun. Some examples of these principles are: don't criticize, give honest and sincere appreciation, arouse in the other person an eager want, talk in terms of the other person's interest, remember names, become genuinely interested in other people, avoid arguments, be a good listener, etc., etc. Each principle is presented with accompanying stories of how business leaders and thought leaders have used them in their life, and these examples really help bring the point home and show us real-life cases of how to use each principle. People are annoying, bossy and self-absorbed. It's easy to complain about it, but if you want to change the world, you need to start with yourself. Quote, don't complain about the snow on your neighbor's roof when your own doorstep is unclean. So, what can you do to become better at dealing with people, become more influential, and get people to like you? Become genuinely interested in other people. Quote, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you. People are interested in themselves. Listen to people, show appreciation, be lavish in your praise, and show people how they can benefit from what you are proposing. One great way to influence people is to create an ideal for people to live up to. In the book, Dale Carnegie tells the story of a person that hires a helper to help out around the house. After she is hired, the person hears from references that this person is actually quite sloppy when it comes to keeping things tidy around the house. When the helper came to the house to start working, the person approached her and said something like this: I heard from people you worked with before that you were honest and reliable and took good care of the children, but also that you sometimes did a sloppy job of keeping the home tidy and organized. Now, I think she's lying. Seeing how neatly you are dressed, I have a hard time believing that that could be the case. I'm sure this arrangement will work out just fine. What happened here was that the cause of concern was raised and the expectations were set, and by pointing out an area in which the person excelled already and showing that gave the person confidence that the same high standards would be transferred onto the task at hand. This is a great way to deal with situations like this. Give people an ideal to live up to and see them excel. Listen, be sincere, be patient, let the person express their idea fully. This was an important lesson for me, as I've noticed myself interrupting people at work recently. And who will listen to me if I don't listen to them? I needed that reminder. I'm trying to become a better listener, but as we try to adopt a new desired behavior, it's easy to slip back at times, and we need to remind ourselves and keep practicing, and eventually it will stick. Eventually it will be the new normal. And if you're interested in the art of listening, you should check out my review of You're Not Listening by Kate Murphy. I'll provide a link to that in the description below. The art of listening is definitely a skill that is highly valuable and something that is sorely missing in today's society. At some point in life, we realize that our life strategy is not working. For me, this was when I finally achieved my big dream and scored the job that I've always wanted to have. And when I did, I woke up and felt like I was the same worthless piece of shit as I was before. I just set up a new goal for myself. Oh, I need to achieve this before I can be happy. Fortunately, I realized and I saw that I was in this loop of creating new goals for myself. I need to do this before I can be happy. I need to do this before I can get happy. And that's when I started to read books, because I realized I needed to update my mindsets. And this book is just perfect for someone who is starting out in life or starting anew, because it will save you so much trouble when it comes to interpersonal relationships, and it will save you a lot of headaches basically, and it will provide tremendous value throughout your life if you follow these principles. And developing great social skills is very valuable. Skills and knowledge, that's really good, but combine that with extraordinary people skills and you have a competitive edge in your professional life as well. If you only will read one book about social skills in your life, let it be this one. This book was of tremendous value for me when I first read it 8 years ago. But is it worth it to go back and read it again if you already read it? Yes and no. It's great to get a refresher of all the concepts in this book, but you really don't need to go back and read the whole book in order to get that. We have the internet now, and the internet is full of summaries. Go for a summary instead if you feel like you need to get a refresher on all these points. Because if you, like me, have maybe started out by reading this book but have kept up reading and you've been reading about psychology, then you probably already know and use all these principles in your life already. The book is for beginners, and it's a great book for beginners. It's a perfect starting point, and it's a perfect gateway drug for anyone who wants to get into reading non-fiction books. Then yeah, this is it. Let me know what you're reading in the comments below, and if you're interested in learning more about being persuasive and influential, then check out my video, The Best Books About Influence. I provide a link in the description and a link right here. And while you're down there clicking and commenting, subscribe, like and share. I share book reviews every week on this channel, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Some upcoming books that I'm reading are The Psychology of Intelligence Analysis. That's a complicated book, but I'll have some good lessons to share from that one. I've started reading Iron John, Men and Masculinity. This is Jungian psychology, and it's really good. I'm just a few pages in. I also wrapped up the 80-20 principle, a super important principle, but is the book worth reading? I will let you know probably next week. I'll have a review up for this one. Until then, Björn out.